Elita 1. This poor girl, despite how important a character she is to the fiction, it's always been an afterthought for Hasbro to make toys out of her. I think one of the oldest ones is actually like a convention exclusive repaint of Thunderblast. And the first one you could actually get at retail was a Scout of RC. And then after that, they took that terrible Revenge of the Fallen Chromia figure and repainted her there as well. They even freaking repainted Starscream into her. And then it comes back to RC again, and in what is perhaps one of the worst RC figures to boot. But now, finally, Elita 1 has a figure that was made to be Elita 1. She's not a remold of anyone else. She is Elita 1. Although you might make the argument that she's a pre-mold of Minerva, but the point is she still came first. So let's get into Legacy Elita 1.
Hello out there, my friends. This is Wake Angel 2001, and I've had a very long, hard day. But that was alleviated when, after work, I decided to give one more shot at Target and found Transformers Legacy Elita 1 in stock. And I am so happy. I have been looking forward to this figure for a very long time, and to see her just kind of pop up at retail, like not having to jump through any crazy hoops, just makes me so glad. She comes in one of those windowless boxes, save the environment. Although it still has a plastic hook for hanging on the pegs. You got the picture of her card mode coming out of the screen. The picture of her on the side with not the best look on her. Like, geez, Elita, you look a little bit stressed there. It's not exactly the most flattering photograph I've ever seen of her. And of course, the back of the box features pictures of her robot and vehicle mode, so you can get a little bit of a context on what she's going to look like. So, yeah. Oh, and by the way, the side of the box has lots of cool stuff on it. You got like an over-the-shoulder looking Optimus. You got Rodimus Prime, no, I don't think that's Rodimus. I think that's actually just Hot Rod. You have the universe version of Prime RC, which looks a lot better in this concept art than it does in the actual toy. Who's that? Is that the tape deck guy? The other guy that's not Soundwave, the boombox dude. And then of course Bulkhead, like the most famously round Transformer ever made square. But you know what? I'm not talking about everybody else. I'm talking about Elita 1, one of my favorites. Let's get her out of this box. And here she is out of the packaging. I gave her a thorough inspection when I took her out to make sure that I didn't have any QC issues, and I'm happy to report that this one is in perfect condition. None of her joints are loose, nothing's creaky, and she's just an all-around perfectly made little figure. So I have heard, especially from Bolt Matrix, I saw the Bolt Matrix review of Elita 1 where she had like a loose pin in one of her legs that kind of made it a little dangly, but mine is nice and symmetrical and there's no problem with any of her joints. Her accessories are these translucent guns. They are designed to peg into each other so you can have like a big old double gun. And I guess this is supposed to be some kind of little modular play so that you can attach them to other guns and build them up into giant gun puzzles if you want. I kind of wish that they weren't translucent blue though, because there's a lot of sculpted detail in there that would look really nice with some good paint, but you know, I guess this is just what we have. So yeah, that looks really good. I really really love this look. It's so great. Oh, I love this Transformer. I love her. Okay, so let's get the weapons out of her hands so we can take a look at the figure itself. Before we go, let's do a quick breakdown of articulation while the camera's zoomed out. She has a very good waist joint. Her head is a little wiggly. It seems to only have a swivel. Like, I can make it look left and right. I can't really make it look like, yeah. There's no. I don't think there's a ball in there. I think it's just a mushroom cap because all I can do is make it swivel side to side. Universal shoulders. There's a little spike at the top that can make it a little bit awkward sometimes, but it doesn't clash too often. Bicep swivel, bent knee, elbow goes just over 90 degrees. Wrist rotation, universal hips, thigh swivel, knee that bends almost exactly 90 degrees. And her foot doesn't go forward and backwards, but it does have a rocker pivot. So, you can kind of get it to go way out there. Yeah, look at that. Sweet. She's still flat-footed. So, yeah, I mean, she is a very well-articulated figure. And the tall shoulder pylons are kind of really giving you that, if you feel that this is giving you too much of the Minerva vibe and you want her to be a little bit more unique to herself, you can, these things are actually very posable. They're on like articulated things, so you can fold them down and give her a little bit more of her own unique look. Like the little headlights are pointing forward now. And they don't impede the arm movement too much. I mean, they do bump a little bit, but since they're articulated, you can always make little micro adjustments to get them just out of your way. So, yeah, when you get the Minerva repaints of this at Walgreens, then you can have them stand next to each other, and they can have unique silhouettes. That's kind of cool, that you can actually make adjustments to the backpack like that. Speaking of which, the backpack is there, but that's about as much backpack as I'd expect to see on most Transformers. Like, this isn't a whole, there's a robot girl who folds up and her car is on her back. This actually does feel like she legit transformed. You can see her legs are made out of folded up car bits. And her arms are actually squared away because they're the sides of the car. So, like, it's not so much to ask. Do we get some Transformers every now and then that, like, remember, like with the Netflix exclusive Elita one, I basically just cut away the entire car to replace it with this upgrade kit I bought on eBay, and the action figure was completely untouched. There was absolutely no interaction between her car parts and her engineering. It was just an action figure with a car shell. And now that I have them side by side, like, I really like the paint job that they gave this new one. Like, I like those nice stark whites better than the browns that they gave the Netflix figure. And they even picked out her little points, the 2 points on her helmet. They're picked out in white so they stand out. And they painted that little thing she has, her little forehead light. Where on this, like, it's sculpted in, but none of it's actually picked out in any kind of paint. And like her chest looks like it's made out of like coolant intakes. She just looks more like a Transformer. She looks like a robot who turns into a vehicle and not just some random robot girl. So this I definitely approve of. And just to bring out, let's bring Moonracer, one of the members of her team. She's actually a little bit shorter than the members of her team. I guess because of all the years that have passed between them, like, they budgeted the plastic out. But also, like, I think this is also because she's long and lanky and has a gigantic backpack, whereas this one, because of the engineering, everything is so much more tight. But yeah, just going through that. And just because we're bringing out all the things that I can compare her to, let us bring in the was this Titan's Return? Yeah, I think it was Titan's Return that she was a Starscream remold. So yeah, we can actually see the difference between a big old Voyager figure of her and the little deluxe. Now I know, like, some people, like, I kind of feel that Elita 1 kind of should be a Voyager figure because she's supposed to be like Optimus Prime's female counterpart, but I don't know. I think, like, we got the raw size going on. Like, I'm actually way happier that this is an original mold than it is, like, something huge but based off of somebody else. Like it's great to have an Elita 1 that's not an RC or a Chromia or a Starscream. Like, this is Elita 1. Who was this mold before? It's Elita 1. Who is it going to be afterwards? Doesn't matter, because it was Elita 1 first. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to throw out there. I'm just happy that we have a good Elita 1 that is Elita 1. Now, I got on a long time. Let's get her into her vehicle mode. Yeah, let's do that. And here's Elita 1's tiny car mode. I love it. This is the most adorable thing. It's so cute. Yeah, we kind of have, like, if you look at it from the bottom, it looks like Elita is just sort of kneeling. But I do like how there's a lot of little subtleties to how this works. Like, for example, right here, her arm, the elbow bends just a tiny little bit to expose the place where this part of her fender plugs in so that it becomes her arm, or it becomes a side panel of the car. Like, there's just a bunch of little things a tab in, and it can be a little bit crashing together at first, but once everything's in place, it's really nice and solid. And I like how, like, her legs open up and become part of the back, and like, I don't think I've enjoyed a female car transformer like this since animated RC. It really has been that long. She has her little roof thing, which looks like her head coming out the top of the car. Of course, since that's her head down there, unlike Override Prime, this isn't her actual head. It's just another accessory which pegs in. Kind of cute. Like, I like how they kind of just admitted, like, yeah, we can't really pull off that engineering, so here's just a piece of fake kibble. It's removable if you really don't like it. And, like, I figure it's removable so that it doesn't have to be there for Minerva, because Minerva doesn't have that. Or they can replace it with, like, a standard light bar so that she could be, like, the little ambulance dune buggy. I like how her wheel rims are painted white. Like, and she has holes everywhere so that you could peg stuff in. You can put her gun there so it's over the front of her wheel. You can put it back here so it's on, like, it's mounted on her back fender. You can plug it into her arm, like, so that it lines up more with the side panel of the car. Like, you can put one gun on top of the other gun so that you have, like, a double thing on one side. Like, you have options. Like, again, if I'm, like, this gives me some vibes of, the original, I think it was it Cybertron or Energon RC? Like, the original one that turned into a motorcycle, like the first RC ever. And, like, she came with a whole huge piece of translucent weapon kibble that became side panels for the motorcycle and a giant crossbow weapon. That's what that reminds me of, but... yeah, like, even without the weapon accessories, this car is just so cute. It is so adorable. And it's so short. Like, look at it compared to, like, one of the other members of the female Autobot team. Like, this thing, it's significantly wider, of course, but it goes to show where the engineering went into. Like I said, like, the transformation of this is pretty basic. Like, all you gotta do is, like, unfurl her torso, like bring her head out, form her torso up, and then everything folds up onto her back. This actually did stuff to become a car, and because of that, like, it's like, this is what I call pseudo mass shifting. Like, when you get a surprisingly big robot or a surprisingly small vehicle, like, one way or the other. So, yeah, it's just adorable. I absolutely love this little dune buggy car. It's so cute. I love it. So, she has a somewhat imaginative and involved transformation that's not too complicated and not frustrating. Her robot mode is fantastic, and her car mode is one of the cutest I've ever seen. I guess the only flaw to her car mode is her the robot mode feet. They kind of flip around to become these little rocket exhausts, and they aren't exactly super, like, there's nothing really holding it in here except the friction of her joints. So on mine, they don't exactly flop around, but I've seen other people where these things just kind of, like, you know, they're like when you have the shutters on your doors and the wind just kind of makes them clap around, boop, boop, boop. But yeah, that's not a flaw on mine. Mine is good. Also, like, I really don't like this clip system for the wheels because they don't spin. I wish that we would have some nice metal pins so that our cars could roll easier again. Like, I'm getting really sick and tired of this. But yeah, I know I did this comparison earlier, so I just wanted to bring in, for nostalgia's sake, the animated RC figure. Metal pin disc wheels. But yeah, like, just to show, like, this is genuinely a trend, I can kind of see the similarities, like the way the legs fold up in a creative way to make good boots for the robot mode, and how like the upper torso is still kind of there, just like doing some clever things to turn into a car parts in a nice subtle way. It's kind of like reverse, where RC's head is in the back of the car and her feet are in the front. Elita 1 has her feet are in the back of the car and her head is in the front. But like, I just like I like the throwback. Like, this really reminds me of this, and this is one of my favorite things ever. So, this is like a modern version of one of my favorite things ever. So yeah, you see me rant and praise this thing for way too long. So that's my verdict. Elita 1 is available in Targets right now. Go out and buy her. She is probably one of the best female Transformers in recent memory, and you will not regret getting her for one moment. This is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.